Hey, what's up, guys? So, this Cam Newton interview with Jason Whitlock sparked a ton of outrage in the sports media landscape, mainly because some people felt that Cam shouldn't have platformed Whitlock, who's been highly critical of Cam's colleague at ESPN, Stephen A. Smith. For those of you who don't know, Stephen A. and Jason pretty much loathe one another and have continued to take potshots at one another over the years. Actually, for Whitlock, pretty much everyone in sports media is taking shots at him, whether it be Joy Taylor, Dave Portnoy, Cam Newton, or Ryan Clark. He's basically an easy target because of some of the stuff he says. The only person I've ever seen defend Whitlock in the past is Marcellus Wiley, who is one of his co hosts on Speak for Yourself. That said, one other interesting person popped up in my timeline after watching a clip, and I want you to have a listen because former Bengals wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh stood on business and defended his friend in the midst of everyone else on the panel trashing Jason Whitlock. TJ also worked alongside Whitlock at FS1, and I think at one point was a co host on Speak for Yourself. Anyways, have a listen.
Jason Whitlock has made a career being a troll. He's made a career out of it. Now, I applaud him because he's a really good troll. Jason Whitlock knows how to get under people's skin at the highest level. I usually just ignore him because he goes away. You will not see Emmanuel Acho, I believe, responding to any Jason Whitlock tweet ever. Ever. You just won't find it. Like, if you don't give it oxygen, it dies like a fire. But it sounds like a hater. Because, again, say what you will about Stephen A., and I've said a lot. Stephen A. is the best in the business. And it is not particularly close. And my old show, I used to look at ratings all the time. That's why I don't lie. Canceled the old show, ratings weren't good. I looked at ratings every single day. This is a true story. I am not lying. Stephen A. was on vacation once. He was on vacation. He came back from vacation. He tweeted that he was coming back from vacation. That day, 1 million people watched First Take. For context, about 130 or 40,000 people watch First Things First. About 145 or 150,000 people watched The Herd. Back when I was doing Speak, about 125,000 people watched it. 128,000 our average in December of 2024. 1 million people watched First Take. On average, about 450,000 might watch NFL Live. About 380,000 watch Pat McAfee on a daily basis. 1 million people watched an analyst giving his opinion of a show. It's not a live sporting event. WNBA games don't pull 1 million viewers. UFL games don't pull 1 million viewers. When I saw 1 million people tune in to watch what Stephen A. had to say about, I believe it may have been the Knicks that had gotten eliminated, I said, that's the best in the business. There's nobody as good as that man. Because that man moves the needle like nobody else in the industry. And he doesn't need a guest to do it. Stephen A. just shows up and people watch. So Jason Whitlock, to me, he might be right about Stephen A.'s basketball career. Who cares? Stephen A.'s not a pro basketball player. But he's dead wrong about Stephen A. on TV.
I know both of them. I know maybe not be obviously. I know Whitlock better. Was on the show with him for a while. I've never had a problem with Whitlock. The way that people have had problems with Jason, I never saw that Jason. He was always super cool with me, and cool with everybody else that was around him. So I've never seen that side of him. Stephen A. I know Stephen A. We see each other, we speak, but I don't have his number. We don't communicate. Like, if I see Stephen A., we talk. And I agree with you, what you said. His shows are entertaining.
Yeah.
It's just the way he carries himself, the way he talks. It's just something about him. He has that factor where there's going to be 1 million people that tune in because it's that it factor that he has in being on television and doing what he's doing. Some may say it's probably a touch of jealousy that Whitlock isn't in the position. I say a touch because at one point, Jason he wasn't as big as Stephen A., but he was on that platform where he was on television daily. And now that isn't the case. This is kind of crazy, though, because they say they're the same age. They came up together. Very rarely do you see two older dudes that are journalists going at it like this. You just don't see it.
Let
or I don't know if Stephen A. is going at Jason, but Jason's going at
going at
Stephen A.
Stephen A's gone at Jason a couple times though. He called him fat in ways I've never heard someone get called
Really?
fat. It was
Oh, so
hilarious.
Stephen A. has
He's
responded
like,
to
you
this.
fat bitch is what he called it. Bro,
Yeah, we had him once.
See, I don't be saying that.
I'm not gonna lie. Stephen A. fired his ass up.
No.
You could tell that one
Like, yeah.
vicariously hurt Kieran
So look-
when he said that. You could tell that.
Nah, why would I be hurt? I was laughing at it. Look.
Oh, okay, my bad.
The interesting thing that's crazy is like people don't realize Jason Whitlock actually has talent. He just chooses to use his talent to spread hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the crazy thing about the fact that Jason Whitlock can get so many people to emote proves he has talent. If he's ever ticked you off, that's a talent. The greatest emotion is apathy, indifference, not caring. He can make you care. He just chooses to use it for evil. That's the worst part. Like he just like, you know what I'm saying?
He gave
like,
it to the Sith, is what you
right.
said.
He chooses it for evil. So
He's 09 Randy Orton in terms of like just dying as that heel.
He
Like,
RKOing grandmas and whatnot.
that's what I'm saying. He was
just
sell
trying
out
be
to
polarized.
just maintain the heel. Like kids try to dap up with Randy Orton, he blows them off, thumps them, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's stuff that you would look at as like detestable, but it's his brand, and you gotta commit
and
to
what's
it.
crazy is like he's such a good villain.
No, he's a great
He
villain.
is.
Like I said, like, I give him credit for that. Like he
He's
gets
such a good villain.
those
He goes
interactions.
at like women and children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he does like the criminal thing you're not supposed to do. Any marginalized community, he's like, they can get it.
Yeah.
Mentally handicapped, don't
Come on,
care.
man. Dropping the R word in 2026, you don't care. You don't care about
at all.
nothing,
He
bruh.
doesn't care.
Bro, he all right, bro.
And then
This
the worst part though, he does it all under the guise of Christianity. That's the worst part. Like he does it all under.
Modern context, a lot of people do that under the guise of Christianity.
Right? But like
Yeah.
Whitlock, if we're being real, Whitlock has unlocked the key, no pun intended, to realizing like the easiest way to tick off black people is for a black person to take an anti-black take.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
Whitlock realizes, oh, I know how to play y'all.
Yeah.
All I got to do is say something anti-black as a black man. Y'all will engage with it, and I'll get paid off the engagement. Whitlock said that Michael B. Jordan got a DEI Oscar.
That's
You lying, bro.
I swear. Go.
that is a
You
prototypical.
lying, bro.
Let me
can't
run
Bro,
me
I
my
swear.
Hold on,
Check.
I'll find it.
He said Michael B. Jordan got a DEI Oscar.
like,
But,
he- like that-
but here's the smartest part
ain't on
about that,
social
though.
media enough,
Here's the
dude.
smartest part
This
about
is
that
crazy.
is black people are going to riot about it, and white people are going to rave about it.
Yeah.
So he's got two markets in the palm of his hand because not all white people, but the racist white people that subscribe to
Yeah,
that
he
type
said-
of stuff are gonna.
I'm not gonna lie. Like Jason Whitlock is the best person to follow in sports media if you take it as satire. Like him
Yeah.
and Barry Sports here, if y'all know who that is.
Okay, so for what it's worth, if we're going to keep it a buck, Jason Whitlock says a lot of stuff that people will think about but will never say publicly. You can hate him for how he goes after his own community and bringing people down instead of uplifting them, because that's one of the biggest criticisms about Jason Whitlock. He's basically a provocateur in the sports media world. That said, I understand why people dislike him, but I also want to point out that when he was at FS1, he did put on a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure he was the one behind the all-black cast on FS1 Speak for Yourself. So I can understand why Hoosh was defending him, but you can tell he was really uncomfortable. Honestly, credit for him for sticking by his boy, because it would have been so easy just to pile on Jason like everyone else. But the funny thing I have to mention is the two former athletes on SpeakEasy were basically spawned from a show Whitlock started.